Hello, Warriors. It's 11 a.m. EST. That must mean it's time for Mike and Dale to bat around the financial ball. How are you, Mike? It's good to get through the first hurricane of my life yesterday.
Coach, if I had $1 for every time I had a hurricane, well, actually, TGA would still be free, but I've been through a bunch from living in Boca Raton and Miami
Oh
Beach
my
for the
gosh.
better part of my 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
And the best thing about them is, well, at least now you can prepare, is after no one gets no major catastrophes, hurricane parties. You just lock down and you get annihilated and wake up and hopefully there's not enough damage.
There's a drink called a hurricane, isn't there?
Yeah, it's the big thing in Duval Street. What do they call that thing in New Orleans?
Oh yeah. All right, Mardi Gras. All right, so I want to address China because there's been a lot of commentary, Mike, about China. There are 2 interest rate cuts. They're weak. It's not enough. China needs to do huge fiscal, huge QE. And the reason everyone's saying that is because it matters, because if China doesn't, it reverberates in our market. And, it's my view that China could do all the things that we have done. They could go to straight QE. Maybe they don't want the inflation problem that we have now in Western countries.
I beg to differ. I still think they would spite the rest of the world even if they didn't, Coach.
All right, well, that's what I mean. I think that they're not doing what we want them to do because it's by design. Xi will take the pain and the hit of a deflationary impulse, which is what they're getting through real estate and no credit demand, to inflict economic damage and financial market stress on the US. We are at war. It's a Cold War, but it's also an economic war. And he does not face an election every 4 years. So what we plan, our plans are for 6 months at a time, and then we'll renegotiate our debt. They have a different outlook. They have like 10-year plans in that short term. So China's not going to give our markets what it wants.
They're not giving their markets what it wants.
It's by design.
I'm going to go with some charts after you bring up, like we say in TGH, Coach gives you a real brilliant macro view, and then maybe later on in the day in my videos at 11 I break it down a little bit and show you more how to trade it. So after the Coach is finishing with China,
well, I just want to show the S&P chart because it's important. I made a big deal out of last week, not when the S&Ps only broke the channel, the uptrend from last March, but this is the wedge line and the overthrow that was also broken last week. And this morning in the room,
Coach, it's chart porn. That looks beautiful.
So I mean, it went right there. All right, so I put some on early, put some more on at the line. I booked half. I had BE stops on my second sale, and so far, unless we could clear this, you have to think there's more downside. Now we could pull back and then attempt another rally. That's possible with with what's going to happen at Jackson Hole and Paul.
Or
but
Nevada.
But it's amazing. It still amazes me, Mike, how lines and technical areas end up giving you real clean price action. And this, I think, was pretty key this morning.
Well, you posted it the past 2 weeks, especially on the video today.
Yeah.
And by the way, it gives some of the older technicians, and we go back to when guys used to do it with their hand and the rulers.
Yeah, sure.
Listen, it's a tool. We use technical analysis. We also go the complete opposite. We use sentiment, emotions. It's just one of the 5 to 7 tools that we use predicated upon price action, volume. We're not splitting the atom here. The majority of traders do the same. We just might execute our plans a little bit better. With that being said, is the technical.
NVIDIA, everyone thought they had it, including myself. But when I started to see this, I go, oh, you know what? They're going to have one stop hunt, make a new high without RSI diverging. And right now they're putting in a key reversal. This is a new all-time high. So if we finish with a red candle, All this was a move to shake out the shorts that thought they had the top.
With that, it's a brilliant point, because there are a lot of charts and stocks that are doing that right now that are making these moves. So also be aware of your stops. The thinner the stock, the more they're going to. They're designed to take you out at the worst, and to take you out at the lows, and to scare you off near the highs. Coach, that's how it is.
Yeah, and look at the banks. So here's KRE, ugly. I didn't look at XLF yet, but I'm pretty bearish of financials, especially the regionals, but also money center banks. Look at this. This uptrend's being broken now. So the recovery we had in regional banks is terminated a week ago with the market, with the general market. And this is what's going to drag the market down.
But it also had somewhat of favorable conditions for it to not turn down.
Yeah, to stabilize. Yeah,
correctly. Hold on, to stabilize, and that's what I would say is the epitome of relative weakness. And I posted in the room this morning, if you can punch up a bank, a JP Morgan or Citibank, going back to my rookie days, this would have been this would have been a no-brainer. Relative weakness in the face of look.
We've been talking about Citi for weeks, Mike.
Gerard, Gerard been talking about it back at 46. When it wouldn't break the 200-day at 46 in the beginning of August, when it might be the one sleeper played to turn around when JP Morgan was actually acting well, and it didn't. I think it's more, Citibank's is more international, and again, it's emblematic of more things going on overseas and more in the world. Bank of America is self-explanatory, but Citibank has huge leverage at the Middle East, and just a lot more of ancillary issues.
Yeah. Here's XLF on the weekly, trying to hold this 50-week moving average, 200's lower. I still think we have banking problems, and I never relented on it. And I think we still have it. I don't care what rates do, but it can't help if the problem and the failure of SVB was based upon a duration trade being the wrong way, because they had some relief for a while with the bond stabilizing. But look at TLT. We're trying to bounce, but it looks even worse than the banks. So if you had a problem with your bond book back in March, which was here, okay, we were already off the lows. Here's March, okay, then you really have a problem with your duration book here.
No, you're going to need a major catalyst, or
they need a crash. They need a stock market crash for people to pile back into bonds and say, you know what, I'll take that 4.5-5% now. I'll take that instead of the risk. And that's going to take some more downside action in the S&Ps. I still think we're going to 4,200.
I wanted to make a great point. I wanted to make a great point, and what I think is what I'm hearing. What do I know? But I'm obligated to say I'm positioned evenly. It's going to take a big credit event. It's going to take a credit event. That's what it is. I don't think it's going to be a disease, God willing. I don't think it's going to be the end of the war. I think it's priced in. Not going to lie. Knock on wood. It's going to be a credit event, and I'm going to tell you something. My wife is a high executive at a credit union, high executive, and she's never. And by the way, I would say at a mid-level bank, mid-level credit union, if you will, the middle class in New York, and she's never had more delinquencies on cars and home in years.
Okay. Even the homes, Mike, because aren't people, a lot of homeowners locked in at 3% mortgage rates? I mean,
but the price of keeping it is washing it out.
Okay. And what costs increase besides if their mortgages didn't go up?
Natural gas, oil.
Okay. So food. So the inflation is making it more difficult for them to pay a relatively cheap mortgage at 3%. We didn't have variables like the rest of the world. They're really getting killed in real estate because they're rolling. They don't have 30-year fix.
You know what,
They're
Coach?
going up with rates.
I guess it makes sense until it doesn't. You know, when you see the market pull back 5 to 10%, they don't have guys that are bullish saying we're going to make New Year high. Everybody on is bearish. So,
Okay.
you know,
I'm hearing that this is a correction that's healthy. That's the
any
commentary I'm
correction is
hearing.
healthy.
Okay, they're saying this is healthy. What's happened? This little sell-off from the highs, and it's a break to buy. Okay, so that's more of what I'm hearing than this market might be shifting and turning negative. I'm hearing, you know, like you would expect after the tremendous rally we had, people are going to buy dips all the way down, I think. So anyway, we'll see. I think a lot of people still say this is not a top. You don't hear people talking about we're going to take out the October lows of 3,400.
No, you don't.
Do you?
No.
Do you? I mean,
We,
what they saying? Maybe
what we have,
4,200?
what we have to do. Look at VFS. What a punt.
All right,
We
you
have to
have
have
the.
Mr. Hunter back on and tell me where the line.
You know what? What it's funny you say that because I'm going to have Dave back right after Labor Day.
And I'm sure he'd love to come back because he had an
Well,
audience
yeah,
here.
it's
And you know
already
what?
it's
He
booked.
wasn't absurd. He wasn't absurd. I mean,
No, but what an interesting time to bring him back while we're in this pullback phase.
I want to know too.
Yeah. So, well, you're asked and you shall receive.
Okay.
Dave Hunter will be with us on Thursday, September 7th at 10 a.m. Eastern time.
That's incredible.
Okay. So I was reading your mind.
Well, that's good. Well, listen, if for people are doing the same thing in a similar pattern for 30, you know, 20, it's a natural thought pattern. You know, if you're in a strip club, your natural, I don't think we have to write notes to each other, say throw some dollar bills out. You're doing it long enough, it happens naturally.
They fly out of your pocket.
Oh.
Anyway, so show us a couple of
okay. Let's bring it back to your China situation. If you could show the charts, that would be great.
Okay, so Baba, and you know what, Mike? I looked at Shanghai, and it could retest the lows it had about a few months ago, but I don't think it has as much downside as our markets because the balloon wasn't blown up as big. Okay, there's what is VFS? Is it a China stock?
VFS is that new issue. It's the Vietnamese e-car.
Okay, that's different. That's not China. Okay.
No, it's Vietnamese. Well, I'm not going to say something. It's Vietnam.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So bottom line is, what is it? August 18th, 3 days ago was 12 and it doubled. So it's a hot IPO. And I should know this. It posted 9 times in the room.
What they do?
It's a Vietnamese EV.
Oh, okay.
EV
EVs.
car.
All right.
Okay, let's look at this. Okay.
Plenty of hype on this one. Go ahead.
Well, that's okay. I don't care. I'm trading. You know what, Coach? I don't care. It's got price.
I know you don't care. Look at that green bar on the 22nd. Look at that. Oh, you had tells even sooner. Okay, there's Baba.
Okay.
It looks ugly, but not as you know.
But Coach, it had its chance.
Yeah.
This is not pulling. You know, these other technology, the other guys have not pulling them back this much relatively. Let's go to JD that was taking a lot of the calls, the bad calls. I think the room knows what I mean here is JD.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. The only ones that they're seeing the taking up are the small little low floaters. Hold on. EDU. The big ones they have no interest in. Baidu. KC, these little ones. Even the EH, the former e-taxi, came from 24 back to 16 right away. So Baba and JD, if they're trying to pump, I don't know what type of catalyst this is going to be. If certainly, what happens if Nevada has certainly a bad number and takes the rest of the technology stocks down? I don't think anybody's going to be running and say JD's on sale. But certainly that's going to cascade even lower. And certainly nobody's going to find a safe haven when these American stocks, if you will,
look how close this is to the October lows of last year. Really close. I mean, that's a layup.
Coach, it had a nice move for a long time. It used to be a great trading stock. You know what I mean? It's another one that I don't want to say take off the screen because it's still a proverbial best of breed, but
maybe it's a foreshadowing of what's going to happen to our technology sector.
Well, like I said, if our tech stocks, continue to pull back, I certainly wouldn't see anybody saying that JD Ababa looks better when you can have it, one of these mega caps, which seems to be the one that they're going to run to. Any technology stock that I'm bullish on, if I am, is a mega cap. I'm not looking for these diamonds in the rough now, especially with the seasonality and the sensitivity to maybe Nevada does go up 50. But you know what? It could very, very easily pull an SMCI and completely reverse and hold things down until the season. And I don't really talk about seasonality a lot, Coach, but you know what? For the past couple of years, it's been working, aside from maybe a sell in May. But it's just like I say, when it's a bearish market, the bears come out. When the market's weak, maybe seasonality does have a play into it. But right now, I'm not going to fight the tape. And I think there might be a little bit of hangover. My point being is energy is still taking some beat flow. Hedge funds are short ETFs. The good thing is that it's all up to the credit market. So far, this is a pullback until the credit default swaps make it a bigger move. And by the way, it's going to be the VIX is still settled compared to what's going on, in my opinion. So much like the VIX at the middle of the day, if the market doesn't really lift, they go and they buy protection. I'm not saying it's flying up, but they have been buying protection.
You know what, Mike? Sometimes it's good to watch a market from afar, and I didn't get back into my house till yesterday afternoon, and I looked at S&Ps being up 30 handles, and the VIX only down less than 1% with a 30 handle move in the S&Ps. And to me, I said, there's a market message. They're not taking hardly anything out of the VIX. When the S&P was really squeezing the shorts pretty good for a day and a half. They took hardly anything out of them. That's a market message.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? It almost seems that the levels, I don't see from here what I'm feeling, and the gut feeling, I have a right to say this after almost 30 years, sometimes is more prevalent than any logic. That I believe that this move is not going to wash itself out naturally.
Okay. And you know what? I just talked to Jim Carroll at Vixologists. That's his bailiwick, VIX.
Yeah.
And he was talking about this ETF called Innovator, where you have a zero downside. You don't get all the upside moves in the market. You get partial. So there's so many products out there being put out for people to sell volatility because it's still working. It's been working all year. And it's an even more crowded trade after talking to Jim about all the VIX products that are putting vol out there for people to short.
No, I've said that yet. Go to yesterday's video. Said the same thing. We see the same thing. The analogy of how if you're on a golf course and it's pouring out and there's only one shed to hide in, there's only so many people there's only a couple of places that stay dry. And that's what marks up people like me go, I'll give you 100, get the hell out of the way, and I stay dry. But now there's one on every hole to stay dry, so there's no cause for concern.
Right. Yeah.
Everyone's
on one side of the boat.
No, it's always a place to hide. That's not good.
Yeah. All right. So
all right. So what's going on? Let's leave it with the wise guys. I just posted this up on TGH.
Oh, and show the S&P charts I posted.
Please.
This morning.
This is beautiful.
Because I want our viewers to come into the room and post, and so it's kind of like a two-way street here.
Okay. Here I was this morning. A macro and a macro view of the comp. A couple of everybody. If in all due respect, if you're not familiar or aware that the market is driven by the 10-year, you got to think something else to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The dollar and the 10-year.
Yeah. Well, yes. Okay. So a couple of charts. Then there's Coach's first one posting right away. Where were you? Oh, before. Oh, this was early.
I beat you there.
Listen, it's not a contest. Whatever way, Coach. It's job is not to be right. It's job to make money. Beautiful line. Actually, I wrote that down. The first post about the S&P making that. I like the vernacular which you put, Coach. Rejected the throw over. And that's almost like when the stocks are trying to find support at the 200-day and they break it and they flush everybody out It holds support and go. That's the antithesis. That's the opposite. I like the vernacular, and that's what happened.
Yep. So far.
Well, listen, it's a trade. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens. And the bottom line is, after you initiated the trade, the second best thing is you initiated stops. So you took some profit, and then you add stops on the rest of your winner, which is the way people should trade. Bottom line.
Yeah, I can't lose money. You always want to get there as quick as possible. Sometimes it's years. Sometimes it's
I'm
years.
I'm FIFO. I'm first in, I'm first out. I very rarely make on the meat of the trade.
Yeah.
I want to be LIFO, last in and last in and first.
So they're buying the biotechs that sweep detected and Novavax.
This one 23 hours ago.
Oh, and there's CCJ. You know what? I keep waiting to buy the miners cheaper, and the uranium keeps pushing up. You know, why wait to buy the gold and silver while uranium price charts keep pushing up? I'm hoping there's a break in these uraniums.
That's all you needed.
All right.
Volume yesterday. All it was.
Nice. Yeah. So biotechs.
Same thing. I'm in VIR. I don't want to look at it, but I have a nice position. VIR.
Don't they get more attention when the market's more uncertain? People gravitate towards the bios.
I apologize, Coach.
Huh?
What's that? I was answering
that. You know, when the overall market becomes a little bit more uncertain, people start gravitating towards the bios.
It used to be, but there's a very negative democratic regime in the country right now, which is not very conducive. And by the way, as you can correlate the Biden presidency to the XBI, and listen, that's all you have to do. So, you know what I mean?
I know a guy, this guy, Martin Armstrong. You ever hear of him? Well, you know, he had this pie system. He's made a lot of, you know, controversial and yet accurate forecasts. He's saying that
like Mr. Hunter?
Even more so, you know, like the fall of a country and things like that. He's saying there will be no election in 2024.
Okay, why?
Yeah, I'll leave that to your imagination.
Well, Coach, you look talking to the wrong person. You know me. Like, you know, my imagination could, you know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. Why wouldn't there be?
An impeachment, an assassination,
a postponement, I don't know, civil unrest. You know, you have to admit it's kind of strange that one of the candidates is, you know, under indictment and the incumbent son is under indictment. Then I don't know how that's going to spill over. You know, people are pretty divided here in this country. I can just imagine they're not good scenarios if, you know, the Republic can't have a free and fair election.
That's fine, Coach. I'm just concerned about what a desktop and a freaking internet connection.
Well, yeah, we're portable until we're locked down, but we're portable. So anyway,
I'm not going to post wise guy action because I think the majority of this is hedging and irrelevant and really, really short term dated. Nobody really is going to egregiously step in front of Nevada unless they're a complete gambler or hedging aggressively. Either way, I will show it. But
Microsoft bearish.
Yeah, that's September. Asan bullish.
At least they're going out. Yeah.
There's Wells Fargo bearish September. Wall bearish. The other bank that's Lucid Capri bearish.
Bearish and semis too.
Yeah,
I saw semis.
And I posted before in TradeGATEHub the sentiment of the positioning of CTAs, and I'll leave it with this. And you know what? I'm going to be in the room all day as you, Coach. You got power again. That's great. Yeah. But right before I came on here, I posted the CTA position. Listen, they're all even. They're not over. They're not over or underweight. Actually, they're a little bit underweight S&Ps.
Okay.
But nothing really. Minis, they're even. There's nothing really.
No extremes. No extremes.
No. So
where's the greedometer now? Back to neutral?
It is at neutral. I think it is at neutral. Hold on, I'll show you. It should be here. The greedometer, I believe, is at neutral. I believe this was posted today somewhat. I'll look.
I saw some bearish action in Freeport.
Here it is. There you go.
Okay.
That's all you need to know. So
All
like
right,
I posted in TGH before, the fear and greed is neutral. Bitcoin's a little skewed. Let things wash out. There's always another trade, not to sound cliche, but if you're going to step in front of some earnings that are going to move stocks, regardless of what's their sector into a degree, and you haven't done anything much, listen, sit on the sideline. Things are neutral. Wait, you know what I mean? Be a pro.
you could even wait till people come back from the Hamptons.
Yeah, don't be
after
a pro.
Labor
Don't be that
Day.
guy waiting at the casino to open up at 8 o'clock and be in line with the other older people. You know what I mean? Waiting at 8 o'clock, trying to get a good seat, sit there all day long. This is what this is. You know what I mean? Nothing attracts a crowd like a crowd. When people are neutral, there's no crowd. So work on yourself, get a TradeView demo, and then we're going to walk you through the rest of the week, starting with after we get on this video and watching Coach's YouTube video that he posted this morning right here on the.
No, I didn't do one today. I'll do one tomorrow.
Oh, I apologize.
That's all right.
But mine alone got 65 views yesterday.
I know. On your, yeah.
They probably thought it was you coming on. They probably thought it was you.
No. People are getting to know you after a few years here, bro.
Well, since last week, we did go from 3,000 to 30. We have gotten 100 more subscribers.
Yeah.
So we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, things are okay. Things are okay. All you do is do your best, put out things to try and add value to what people are doing, and things will, sprout up and blossom on their own.
Coach, you never know in this game. I do it the same if there's one person or 100,000. I freaking France. You could tell by the passion. I'm sure you know different. So it doesn't matter. I do the same, give it all every single time, at least for me, to make myself a better trader, if I could be selfish.
All right, everyone watching, see you in the room.
Cheers. Have a good day. Trade well. Have a plan.
All right, buddy. Thank you, Mike.